Joint Extension Specialist at Oklahoma State University. And I'm joined today with my master's student, Brittany Kirkland from Florida. And we're going to talk to you today about your horse's salt requirements and how much salt they actually need, especially when it gets really hot in the summer and horses are sweating a lot. So how hot is it going to be today?
105 today, 108 tomorrow, with a humidity of 77%.
So I think our horses will be sweating, and therefore we really need
sweating too.
Yeah, we need to eat our salt too. So for horse nutritionists, we tell people our horses' salt requirements in percents of their diet. So what I know is that horses require between 0.25 to 0.5% of their diet as salt. But for the average owner, do we know what that is off the top of our head?
No.
So we thought it would be actually useful to do the math and to show you what that looks like, and then also to do a demonstration to help you visualize, well, how much salt is that actually? So let's do some easy math, and let's say we have a 1,000-pound horse, and we're going to feed our horse 2% of its diet, or 2% of its body weight in its diet, which is what we recommend. So if we did that, that's 20 pounds that horse eats per day.
Yeah, but that's grass, that's hay, and that is going to be your concentrate.
That's everything.
That's everything.
And we tell you, well, 0.25% of that should be salt. So that doesn't always make sense to a lot of people. So let's just do that really quick. So if I'm going to multiply 0.25%, what I'm actually going to do is take my 20 pounds of feed and multiply it by 0.0025, and that tells me it's 0.05 pounds of salt.
Which means nothing to us.
Right, most people don't think about 0.05 pounds
This
of
is
salt.
a pound.
So what we're going to do is you can use any old conversion table. You can use a Google conversion. And essentially what that ends up being is about 23 grams of salt. So we're going to weigh that out for you guys and show you what that actually looks like. So we brought a scale with and some different measuring devices so that you could kind of see what that looks like, again, using kind of our normal kitchen utensils.
Yeah, so this is just a tablespoon, and this is literally just like a kitchen scale. It's not anything fancy. So we're going to try to get to 23 grams. So, okay.
So we're almost full there.
There's 1 tablespoon, and we're at 17.7.
So we're not even there yet with 1 tablespoon.
And it was a little
more than that.
Yeah, it was kind of overflowing.
Okay.
Let's see what this looks like.
Pretty good. Okay, so that's 23 grams of salt. And again, that's on the low end. So that was about 1 1/3.
Yeah, and the first one was a little overflowing, so probably about 1.5.
1.5, somewhere in there, tablespoons, and that's on our minimum. And again, we said there's a range, so if we went more than that, it would be safe to say. So a lot of questions we get, people when they read feed tags, they'll see that salt is included in their horse's feed. So I get questions, well, my feed says it has salt, why do I have to give my horse any additional salt? But what a lot of people don't realize, we'll do that real quick, is most feeds will actually contain somewhere between 0.5 to 1% of that feed is salt. But they won't even tell you, well, how much is it really?
They won't tell you the grams, it's just
Right.
the percentage.
But if we went back and we thought, well, 0.5% of our diet, but Brittany, do we usually feed our horses only grain?
No.
Not usually. So we have to think about how much are they getting from the grain that we give them. So let's say we feed our horse 5 pounds. And I'm going to use the low end here at my 0.05. So that essentially, if I did the math and used my conversion table, that's only 11 grams of salt that horse is actually getting from their feed. So what do we usually tell people then when it comes to feeding salt to their horse?
That they need to give them more than just what's in their feed, because that was literally only half of what we calculated, less than half actually.
Okay. So what about salt blocks? We know a lot of people like to use salt blocks to provide a source of salt.
Yeah, they're great. Some horses eat a lot of them. Some horses don't eat enough of them though, and also they're out in the weather, so you have rain and other things that are influencing how much is actually going to waste more than actually within your horse.
Right,
So-
and there's good data out there that says, you know, on average, horses will consume enough from their salt block, but there's plenty of horses that don't really like to lick salt blocks at all. And again, in this kind of weather conditions, we'd be concerned about those horses. Commercially, they do make loose salt for horses that you might use instead, that
Yeah.
horses find it a little easier to eat. But alternatively, we can actually use table salt.
Just use this.
So what we wanted to kind of finish our demonstration here is to talk about how much salt heavily exercising horses do actually need, or even horses that these really hot climates where they're going to be sweating continuously over the next few days. So if we're going to, let's just double that requirement for our heavily exercising horse, then that's going to be a total of 50 grams of salt that we actually need. So let's go ahead and look to see how much we need to get us to 50 grams.
So again, we have about a tablespoon and a half, tablespoon and a third. So, and that was 23 grams. So,
Who knew that feeding horses could be just like cooking?
I know. Okay, so we're at 40 with one more tablespoon.
Okay, so we're at 2 1/3.
Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna put this all in there.
Oh, why not? Let's see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. So we
yeah.
were at about 3 tablespoons, 3.5 tablespoons when we double that horse's salt
Yeah,
requirement.
and some can go up to 4. You know, obviously this is still dependent upon weight, so make sure you're actually doing that calculation too.
Absolutely,
So-
because we were using only 1,000-pound horse in our demo here. And so if you have a larger horse, you know, maybe closer to 4 tablespoons in these really hot climates would be recommended. So Brittany, how would you get your horse to eat this little pile of salt then?
I would put it in my feed.
Very good. So most horses will actually eat this amount of salt if it's mixed in with their feed, especially if you split it into 2 feedings. I wouldn't recommend just dumping it into their water because we really want to make sure horses have an adequate source of water all the time, again, especially in the next couple days.
And when you put it in their water, sometimes they'll just completely stop drinking, and that is definitely, that's the purpose of the salt, partially, is to keep them drinking, so we don't want to make them stop.
Great.
So,
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed our demonstration on our salt requirements for our horses. We plan to do some other educational videos in the future. Certainly, if you have any comments or questions, let us know. But thanks for joining us.
or anything that you want to know about, let us know.
Absolutely.
We'll try to do a little video
We'll
on it.
do a little
So,
Facebook Live.
yeah.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thanks.